pointed out, Hellbears are good at taking that one game off a team, but can they take a best of? Nigma, I think if you like polled the population in Dota right now, I think most people would expect either OG or Nigma to make it through, so get one of the two top dogs here in the first series. And Nigma are playing a lot of their like trademark stuff, so they're going in guns blazing for game one.
Very insightful indeed. If you polled most people, they would pick the two most popular teams to come out. You are absolutely correct, Slytherin. Well, they are both the most popular, and right now they have the most DPC point, right?
So the thing, though, is that Nigma did not look good in the last tournament they played. They did not look good in ESL, right? Like, it wasn't just the placement they got, but their games just looked a bit disconnected and out of form compared to the major, where, you know, if you're going to the tournament with that in your mind, you might think a team like Tundra could even be favored against them. We will obviously see further down the line.
Oh, I think there is the aspect, and the panel kind of talked about that Nigma were kind of figured out towards the later end of the major, and at ESL they just played the same. I mean, they're basically playing the same thing here. So, I mean, obviously there hasn't been any kind of a patch. So, I don't. Were you? That's actually a good question. Were you expecting anything different coming from them? Are they just waiting for the patch to come before they make these major tweaks going into TI?
I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that Nigma plays and played at the major are just really good heroes in the patch. So if anything, I think small adjustments are enough. Like swap out one or two heroes in like your active arsenal, and then you have like if you have like some sort of cheeky last pick that you've theorized could be good, then maybe that. But outside of that, like
the battle begins.
In ESL as well, I don't think the biggest problem necessarily was strategy. I just think they got like outplayed more so than having poor strategies. So. Also about, you know, just being informed and being on the same page. Speaking of strategy, like the panel was pointing out, this looked like a really good Ursa game, by the way, for the Smashers. And I really wonder what made them end up on the PL, if it's more of like a macro understanding of the game right now that a hero like Ursa can't win this late game or can't like build enough of an advantage. Because he had some amazing matchups. Ursa's very good against Tide, very good against Phoenix. In my opinion, very good against Gyro as well. There was only really Miracle's TA that you were worried about, where you took the opposite approach here, where you took the PL that's good against the TA, but not so good against the Tide or the Phoenix. So maybe showing a lot of respect to the TA pick in general and feel like you have.
I want to say at the major, from the games that we cast at least, TL looked as Ace is going to get pressured completely out here. Like he'll survive the engagement though early on between the Kuroki and mind control combo, but he'll look. I don't know if you feel the same way. He felt a bit underwhelming once you got to like the late game timing. It feels like you need this semi carry, which maybe, you know, Bora on the Lina can be that hero, but TL just doesn't feel like this hero you can just bank everything on.
I think the hero just felt overwhelming in general, not just in the late game. There were a couple of games that we saw where he did very well when he was in the very good conditions and there was a very good like cast and plan around him. I don't know how much I like Hellbear Smasher's lineup as a PL lineup. Usually what PL wants is his other heroes either having like, I would say very good ability to single target out people so that PL can go on something else. And what you're primarily sitting with, I guess the Hoodwink could be kind of cool for that, but you're kind of relying largely on an axe call to start a fight, and then PL will try to go on something else. Because this hero thrives in chaos, right? And I think that's part of the reason he looked weak at the major, was that a lot of the teams have this like very structured team fight that the hero isn't so good against.
Bot lane,
Tofu is in trouble bottom here.
And Cold embraces himself for now. Kuro does have a couple fire spirits left, and yeah, with the right click from mind control, nope, not going to quite pick out. Now mind control kind of on the run, and as we see this action, I want to scroll just a little bit higher. Oh, they actually got rid of it. No, there's this, I've never seen this spray paint before. You'll see it. I don't know who it is, but it's of a person yawning, and that might be the best spray paint in the entire game. So we'll just have to you have to wait with bated breath here until that comes about again, Cinder. Maybe we can ask the players to pop it on the floor one more time.
So they don't kill Tofu there, but they do force out the Cold Embrace skill point on level 2, which means that the aggressive potential of Smashers in the safe lane is basically non-existent. I don't think you really wanted to try to play aggressive here anyway. You're playing against Tide Phoenix with a PL. PL does like negligible damage to Tide already, so what's your really going to do? So you're just trying to sustain and farm. So it's kind of par for the course here. And it kind of goes both ways. Like, it looked like maybe there was a potential kill on the Wyvern there for Nigma, but still had Fairy Fire, and obviously Phoenix's damage is not too interesting until level 3, and especially level 5 with the Fire Spirit points. So I think we're just going to have a farm lane down here for the most part. Mid lane, BoraNija versus Miracle is a pretty even lane. Lina against Ti. I think, go back a couple of years, Ti wins this matchup pretty hard, but Lina has some more things going her way now than back then. And then in that top lane, I think Io Gyro is a good lane against Axe.
Ooh. All right, a courier was just fed to Rasmus here, aka Misery. He's going to chase down GH a bit. Forgot to mention this, of course. This is, I think, the first time I've ever cast Misery since the DC days, so I'm actually pretty excited about this. There's another courier, potentially with his name on it, but GH, going to micro that, make sure they don't feed a second one to Mr. Rasmus himself. I don't know why he changed his name. I need to... That's going to be my research for the next game, which he'll probably not answer me, but I'm going to figure out why he changed his name to Misery.
Maybe he felt like every time in the game, like, he just had too many negative connotations when he looked at the screen.
Under attack.
Could be.
He wanted a more optimistic and positive name for his team. With
he did have a reputation.
Such as Tofu and Ace. I mean,
Tofu is the most neutral name possible. Right? It's tasteless. To add everything to it to make it taste anything good, but...
Oh, that was a contra.
Really? I thought that was the entire point of it. Okay, well, we can have a discussion another time. By itself, yeah. The whole idea is to add stuff to it. But anyway, back to the game. So this is the TI qualifier, for God's sake. Get your head back inside the game, good sir. We have ILPW, of course, on this Gyrocopter, 22-7 versus the PL is 27-3. So neither are farming that great. As you can see, Rocket Barrage on the Mr. Rasmus. You can see Gil here. A little bit of damage from the sideline. It's a hero we have yet to talk about because he's been in basically every single game, this Hoodwink. I know you hated him at first, but I should say. Have your thoughts changed over the course of the past few weeks?
They actually have. So at the major, when I was talking about Hoodwink, I wouldn't say I was a hater. I just felt like the hero had a lot of conditionals that needed to be met in order to perform well. Like, a couple of heroes in the meta really made it hard for Hoodwink to thrive, like Misery.
Alright. That's first blood for Nigma. Go ahead, Senator. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Hoodwink needed a lot of... It felt like Hoodwink needed a lot of conditionals met, but after just seeing it and playing it more, I'm kind of getting to a point now where I think the hero's a bit more independent than I gave it credit for. It's somewhat... Against a lot of combinations where it would be hard, I think if you play around it in a smart way, you can set things up, and... The tempo of the game really seems to favor a skill like Bushwhack Kite a lot. There's a lot of fighting around tree lines in the early mid-game in many of these games where Hoodwink can do a lot of impact. Usually when the hero starts falling off is when teams start getting like BKBs or like just get too tanky or get a lot of mobility items, so it gets harder to hit your spells. But in the position that Smashers picked it, I kind of like it. Like, when you pick it later into the draft, when you see that the enemy team, okay, they're not playing like 3 heroes that have insane mobility. They're very much grounded, right? Like, what did you see at the time? You saw Phoenix, TA, and Io, I think, at Hoodwink. None of these heroes with like insane mobility, so you have a good chance of landing your spells and not relying too much on teammates.
It does feel like one of those vanilla picks as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I mean, I will say this, Cinder, I know you're going to disagree, but this is one of the heroes that NA has introduced to the world. Basically the only region to play this hero for the longest time. We saw at the major.
Maybe that's why it wasn't picked so much at the major.
Yeah, that's why you didn't believe in it, because NA, I mean, you're like, NA's garbage, so anything they pick is probably...
You were really good.
Hey, they happen to be right about one thing, all right? So
that's true.
We can at least put that to our name. But we haven't really talked about the lineups overall. So there's my control getting pressured out of bot lane for now. We'll be okay, though. Do you favor like one team or the other, not including skill? Because obviously coming into this, Team Nigma, like you talked about, the #1 seed for all intents and purposes, so they will be the team to beat.
I don't know. So one thing I'm not so big a fan of with Nigma's lineup is what the panel pointed out, that they have like no catch, no reliable way of setting up fights. They just have that Ravage. And when you get out of the laning stage and skirmishes start happening, you're very much reliant on Ravage to get stuff done. When you get later in the game, you can kind of itemize your way out of it, right? By just having overwhelming items or buying stuns or maybe be able to outlast, so you get a guaranteed good Ravage because your cores are tanky enough with the IO Phoenix backing them up. That
Radiant's
just
middle
takes too
tower
long.
is under attack.
BoraNija would be forced to TP away here from the rune.
Can you pronounce that name again for me, please?
Okay, so I actually don't know. So I call him BoraNija, and some call him BoraNija, and the panel call him BoraNija, which is definitely wrong. That letter is in the name. So I'll say they're wrong, but beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Bora. It's just half of his name, so it can't be technically incorrect.
Let's call him Bora.
Nigma, they see this stack here. The question is, can they do enough pressure here? Rasmus, recently found out, is level 6 right now. The trap does slow. Homing missile on the way. Witchquack does connect onto 2, but Rasmus able to get out the Berserker Pulse with these tanky as a result. The call down is there with the reinforcements on the way as well. Finally, Nigma are able to take him out, but will it cost him anything? Look at all the rotations here from Hellbear Smash. GH will not be able to TP out. LSA was there. It ends up being a 1-for-1, but the real question is, where does this stack go? They can't take it without the axe.
Yeah, they're just gonna hold the area, and Axe is gonna go there as soon as he spawns. We'll try again. X with Vanguard can do this on his own. Yeah, you can be cute and cold embrace him with Wyvern. Kyle's primary contribution to pro Dota history, but they don't need to do that here. X can do it on his own problem. So, yeah, I feel like I didn't really answer your question about who my favorite is going late.
You never do. I just want to hold on. I hope people out there that are listening / watching just understand that you don't answer any questions. Period. Ever. Yes. Ever.
Okay, so if Nigma get through at what could be a turbulent mid game, I do favor the strategy in the end, because I think both TA and Gyro in this game are going to be overwhelmingly farmed, and I always like Phoenix late game as a support. Yes, you're playing into Lina, but it's literally the only very big problem you have for your egg, because PL can't go for the Supernova when he's just going to get ravaged, right? So if you set it up nicely with, let's say, TA starting the fight with either, I don't know if Miracle's going to go for a Scythe in this game to lock people down, or a Nullifier or whatever, to just like start the fight, and then Phoenix follows through, it's very difficult for Hellbear Smasher to go in and deal with that Supernova, and Tide will get a refresher late game, so you have 2 Ravages. Very late, I like Nigma. In theory, in the next 10 minutes, I like Smashers, but I haven't really seen them take much initiative right now. They're kind of just letting both the Gyro and the TA farm to their heart's content, and that's generally not a good look. But these 2 heroes just farm faster than anything you have. Like, you're not going to keep up with your PL and your Axe to this when the Axe is played offlane.
I'm going to ask you a bit of a... I don't know what kind of question you want to even describe this as. It's a bit of a hot take. Do you think Gyro is a good hero without IO? Currently.
Radiant structures are fortified.
As you see, Bushwhack, we got to hold the horses there, Mr. Sinnerin. Yeah, sharpshooters there, but Rasmus not able to do much as there was a relocate. But it's actually a baby relocate. They want to go back in here. Kuroki does have egg as well.
Bottom tower has been denied.
Posture, but doesn't look like a fight will actually commence from this. So go ahead with your amazing opinion that you won't answer.
Nice deny bottom by Topher there on the Wyvern. Yeah, I actually do think Gyro can be a good hero without IO. I don't think it's as much of a requirement as it felt like, I want to say, a month or 2 ago, where it was literally only played together. But if you do pick Gyro without the IO, I think it needs to be a very late pick in the draft, because there's like specific pitfalls for this hero where it can be difficult, like some matchups where people come up too close and are against you. A lot of the like very mobile heroes can kite you and make your life miserable if your spells don't land. So much of your damage in the early mid game is about the rocket barrage as well as the call down until you get farmed enough that flat cannon becomes your main source. A lot of heroes can deal with very well, but when it gets picked late, like let's say last pick or second to last,
LTW might be in some trouble. GH does have his relocate, and you can see just like that with the Bushwhack setup, Hellbear Smashers absolutely decimate himself. Tier 1 as well, as Bora's rotated here in addition to basically everybody from Hellbear Smashers.
I don't think you go with this tower. Like, I get what Mind Control's intent is. This is something you want to do with these like tanky offlaners like Tide, is you want to TP and then defend your safe lane tower. Same logic for Timbersaw, but like your carry just died. He doesn't have buyback and the tower's on 20%. So I think that TP He might complete it anyway, just so he can sit up here and take the follow-up farm that comes and push out the wave again. But that tower was definitely dead on arrival as soon as LTW died. And nice from Hellbase here, right? Like, they take some initiative. It's been a relatively quiet game. They kill the carrier, they take tier 1. I think you want to keep rolling. You have a peel with this early defusal timing. Hoodwink has level 7, which is a very strong spike for the hero. When you have your ulti and 4 points in Bushwhack, you're very powerful. Axe is going to get his dagger and 20 gold. So all things are coming together here. I would really like to see Smashers try more invasive maneuvers, especially if they can play away from the tide. That's like the one centerpiece that Nigma have to kind of glue their lineup together in team fights right now.
Dire are scanning.
Forcing that guy to TP could have even given them a smoke toward the other side of the map. They chose to fall back to farm this dagger first.
Yeah, like you said, Ace does have the Diffusal Blade. We have Bora on the Lina, has the boots of travel going into Yules. We saw the Maelstrom already picked up by LTW. Obviously going for the Aghanim Scepter thereafter. I mean, once he gets that, it feels like his farm just takes on another level where there's almost no other heroes that can really catch up. Aside of like a Luna type hero. I mean, even the TA on your team won't be able to keep up with that at some point in the game. By the way, now that we have a small break, I have a little bit of not a complaint, but has nobody talked about how the health bars at the top have changed colors? Is that just me that notices this?
What has changed?
Last patch?
Is it a different green hue and a different red hue? Or?
Yeah, they're both darker. Is that just my computer?
That's true, actually. That is.
Why has nobody complained? It's really been bothering me.
Not only when you're spectating or also when you're playing.
I'm playing as well. Okay, there's a PSA out there. Nobody has brought it. I feel like I'm literally crazy that I'm the only one that has noticed it. But it's really
when did that happen? In a patch like a day ago or something?
No, it was the Nemesis patch, I believe.
Oh. I think people didn't notice it because they were lagging all the time, so they couldn't really focus on other things.
Well, they're still lagging, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
What's the deal with that? That micro stutter.
Heroes, yeah, they're focusing on improving their performance rather than looking at the top of the screen. Mid tower is gonna be attacked here. I like this from Smashers. No siege creep yet though, so I think a better timing would have probably been next wave. But it's the right idea to not just sit back and farm and do nothing. Relatively quiet game though. 4 kills at 15 minutes is very slow in this patch.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I think Nigma are happy with it, so you're not... You know, there's like this fine balance in the game between doing what you want to do and doing what the enemy team doesn't want you to do. They're not always the same thing. Does that make sense? Like sometimes your lineup really wants to farm, but because the enemy team wants to farm even more than you do, it can be better to play aggressive. Like, the reason I say this is that a lot of the time PL lineups are happy to just do this, right? Just sit back and farm. Oh, PL's free farming, that's great. But the lineup you're playing against probably thrives more from that playstyle than your PL draft, even though you last picked it. I feel like there's a little bit of...
under attack.
Should be a feeling of urgency to get something done for Smashers here. Even though their lineup, in theory, would be happy to farm.
Yeah, we talked about it. Gyro and TA are basically going to out-farm you no matter what at this stage. I mean, right now, Miracle...
Like, it's just a 1k lead, but it's kind of the writing on the wall that key items are coming up.
Yeah, exactly. And now that the Aghanim... Actually, did he change up his build? Is he going BKB on ILTW? I think something's being delivered right now. We'll see what that is, but... Miracle did get his Desolator right now. Okay, so ends up changing his... So it looks like they want to fight it with this Desolator on Miracle. That's kind of the timing. As see that they are scouted out here a bit.
This game will be BKBs, right? You pretty much you negate a lot of the Lina. You negate basically all of Hoodwink. At least for Hellbore Smashers, they do have 2 BKB piercing abilities in the Call as well as the Winter's Curse, so it's not nothing. But even against a hero like Phantom Lancer, BKB can actually be very good, just to remove the diffusal aspect of the hero. It can help you in a lot of core matchups especially. So I think, you know, ILTW getting his BKB, and maybe Miracle after Blink will get another BKB. Ti got his dagger. It's still just very calm with Smashers, I feel like having this timing right now that isn't really getting used. They got an X Blink, have yet to use it. Lina has her Yules, has yet to use it.
This is a situation, I know it's an offlane act. This is like, if you knew this was going to happen, you probably would have just went straight for Mantha, I assume, and not gotten the blink yet. But it is 17 minutes, so can't get that shard quite yet, so they are going to smoke, and we'll see if they can find a kill as a result of this. I think this is feels like the first team smoke of the entire game here. But like we talked about,
I think Smashers are just frustrated. It feels like they're not able to push out the waves as much as they would like to make these smokes good. And at this point, they're going to do one where both their bottom and top wave are kind of halfway across the map for the other team. So it's not like a very advantageous position. And now they're going to move in. They're going to place an ops, which is uncovered. I do know there's a ward from Nigma.
Huge kill. Hoodwink gets off the stun. Beautiful Laguna Blade. That is enough to delete ILTW. And the big thing about that is he was 200 gold away from finishing his DKB. So now he's 400. That is a big timing opening here for Hellbear Smashers. We'll see if they can take the tier 1 in addition here. But Mind Control is a bit. He is here with the Blink Ravage. They really want to go for this. It is 4v5.
It's on that Lina double damage here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Looks like the tower will fall, and Nigma is just going to chill for now.
Has fallen.
Wait for ILTW to come back up.
Really
Didn't
nice
mention, Hoodwink did get the Ironwood Tree neutral by the way. Maybe I want to say the second best hero to be able to get this behind Timbersaw. So it's not as good a Timbersaw as it used to be. Basically, just plant the tree and then you can bushwhack first and then tree after.
Yeah,
it's like an invisible
cast
stun.
range and it's pretty much instant placement. So yeah, it is very good on Hoodwink for sure. It gives you it basically gives you in a way half a spell because you don't need to rely on the travel time of Acorn Shot anymore, which is a big part of the weakness of that spell. Is that it's very telegraphed and it does take some time to land. It can be quelling, right? But if you throw the net and then place the tree as the net is landing, no hero can quelling blade that.
I'm sure there's some people with reaction time syndrome or scripting, but of course nobody's going to be doing that in this lobby, at the very least. They're TI level players, especially in the likes of Misery. Second place. I don't know if you knew that, Syndron. Very good player back in the day.
Very good player.
Hoping for a resurgence from him in particular. It's cool to see him in the off lane though. Definitely not a position that, you know, back in the day he would play position 5 and 4. Pretty much that's it. And then recently, I'm not sure how recently it was. Maybe I have to talk to G-Dub about this since he's been in the know with him, but...
He won a major as off lane.
How recently?
Oh, that's quite a while ago. That was in Shanghai in 20...
yeah, this was it on Secret, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was with Weehaw. Or was that EE? Or maybe all of them were on that team.
EE... Was it... Who were the supports? It was Puppy... Was it Puppy Pilot Eye?
I was gonna say Pilot Die, probably. Yeah.
Puppy Pilot Eye? Yeah, it was Pilot Eye. I remember.
Secret had some crazy 5-man, I have to say. Alright, we have a mech picked up for Mr. GH. ILTW did finish that BKB. Looks like Gil's gonna use his ult to try to get to the other side, but he found it pretty easily. That's gonna be a freebie for Nigma, and they're just gonna go into Roche. The question is, can
they have all spells except the sharpshooter, so he's gonna buy back, and Nigma doing this specifically to force that buyback and immediately get the hell out of there. Very experienced, they know this was what they were trying to do.
Smoke too.
And smoke again.
And of course, Hoodwink, one of the few heroes.
It's very big.
Hoodwink, one of the few heroes that can actually scout into Roche, so actually a pretty important hero to have alive right now. Ace. Found out, gets the bounty, but will run. ILTW just going to take the triangle for now. You can see that where Smashers are kind of spread a bit. Rasmus towards the top of the screen. can close in and try to find a nice initiation.
As long as Nigma aren't killing Roche, I think this is fine from Hellbearers. You know, you're paying some respect to the enemy team. Smoke, movement, you know they're smoking because Gyro broke on the PL.
Did you fall out of the nest as a
And
baby?
you just push out the waves, buy some time, and Nigma eventually are going to just back off. They didn't really accomplish much with their 2 smokes. They killed 1 support kill from 2 smokes. Who, in fairness, did buy a back, but it wasn't that big of an expense. I think Hellbearers,
Dire's top tower
they're
is
doing
under
fine.
attack.
They're 2k gold up. It's not a monumental lead, but after they found that kill on Gyro as well as the mid tower, I feel like the game's kind of in a good spot for them. BoraNija will use a
Wanna play with
nice
fire?
Yule TP out. Nice that relocate.
No stuns. He needs to get level 25 to get that precious stun.
I feel like, you know, I talk about this a lot. I feel like playing lineups without stuns is just hard. And it doesn't, like, I'm not gonna, you know, say that Nigma's draft makes no sense and why the hell don't you put stuns over, but I think they might have had a different plan for their last pick. The DK ban obviously coming out, I think, was the hero they wanted. But that was clearly a good ban from the Smashers, but yeah, having only Ravage as a stun, you're just seeing situations where heroes can play the map differently on the enemy team, such as the Lina there. Like, if there's literally any stun there, that's just a dead Lina, but because Bora knows that that's not an option, he can push that extra wave that little bit further. Or play that little more cocky in fights and get away with it.
I think it's time for GH to get his shard of the initiation to top lane. Rasmus gets up, throw the nice control. Sharpshooter into the Laguna Blade. Absolutely delete mind control. And looks like Hellbear Smashers be able to get out just fine. Alex does get off the homing missile, but really to no avail here. It's Rasmus showing off his newly minted Manta style, working on a shard for himself. We talked about how, yeah, he is mega for sure. He just farmed his ILTW basically. That's not good. This is going to be a Roach now for Hellbear.
No tide, no buyback. They're actually just going to lose this. I don't see a way Nigma can contest this at all. So I don't think they're even going to bother. But maybe they are. Fall down.
Fall down in there. He's available with the egg. You can see the Sunray coming out. Actually popped with GKV as well. The homing missile coming. Lina's going to get to the high ground. So through an ace. Trying to traverse to their side of the map. Well, Miracle's going to get caught out though. LSA's there into the right click. Looks like it's going to be more than enough damage to take him out. And it only cuts to the Viper. Roach extremely low right now as the egg does finally pop for Kuroki. Low heroes on the side of Hellbear Smashers. I feel like they have enough time to go heal and go back and get Roche.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a good play from Nigma because stop the Roche and they don't Ravage. So if they can hold the area until Miracle spawns, they can be able to grab the Roche themselves. I didn't think they were going to be able to or try to contest there. But I think the really key thing was Rasmus was tanking Roche and couldn't blink. So he wasn't able to connect on the net that Gilger found on the gyro when he walked in, and then he just beat it.
I think they can get it right now, though. This is the timing for Hellbear.
20 seconds. I like this a lot. Again, you're just forcing Nigma's hand. You know, there's no supernova. 20 seconds from the TA. Are they gonna buy back? Yeah.
Smoking. Yeah, they want to go again.
I like this.
Pop the smoke here. There's the Ravage into the pit, but it looks like the Aegis is going to be able to get the Aegis in the end, but the Roach can actually go to Nigma, and they're going to lose everybody. Gyro's dead, Io's dead, Kuroki on the high ground now, Rasmus just limping away to get triple kill for Bora. Looks like Mind Control is next on the list if they only lose Rasmus. What a huge fight for Hellbear Smashers. Holy jeez. Ultra dope. Mr. Bora, who I can't pronounce your name, but you're playing very well, young man. Good job.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hello, Nigma? Okay, doesn't this just feel like one of those moments where, okay, if you're gonna double down on that Roche, you're gonna buy back your TA when you go for the Ravage? And the reason is TA has Blink, so if she TPs from the outpost, I think she can connect in time. Instead, you're kind of like I'm not going to say they half-ass it, because it is a really big commitment to buy back the TA, but at the same time, I think if you believe in that fight, buying back the TA should probably get you the Aegis. And then that's, you know, if that's the outcome, that you pay a buyback to get that Aegis and the enemy team doesn't get it, that's pretty good, I would say. But going in as 4 there with the Ravage seems a bit optimistic under those circumstances.
I believe the
we basically
Ravage
had 2 4-man fights on Roche in a row, right? Like, Nigma took 2 4v5s in a row there. The first one was without the TA, and the second one was... Or, sorry, the first one was without Gyro, right? And the second...
Dire's bottom tower
First one was without
is under attack.
Yeah,
first one was without someone, second one was without someone else. Okay, I have the memory of a goldfish, but I think it was tied first and the second fight was without the TA, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I figured it out. It just took...
Radiant structures.
Did you figure out that Ravage killed Roshan as well, Cinder? It's quite the highlight. And very awkward 1 second period where the Aegis was on the ground.
Imagine Nigma don't get lucky, that's just pure luck, right? That the Ravage gets the kill. And
wait, how much does that matter? How much gold and XP even is that even?
It's a decent chunk. I think this would be about a 1k figure. Just, I mean, not flat, but instead of 3k, it would say 4k right now, and there would be a little bit more experience. In the grand scheme of things, the Aegis is more important than the kill, obviously, but, you know, Smashers were set to get both, so at the very least, Nigma got something there. TV's coming in top, they're very late on this.
Yeah, Ace. Already at half HP. You need to be careful. Tier 2's already dead. Only gets to follow the mind control with another Ravage. This time it's going to be basically just on the Lina to get the Yule spot, but the right clicks are going to be more than enough. Nope. Going to get saved for now. The L take's not going to connect, though. Shortly find her way to the grave. BKB pop from Miracle now as the chase is on. Still buyback available, though, for Bora. She wants to extend it here. Doppelganger's able to take off that homing missile. Tofu getting chased, so in the meantime, yeah, can't even get off the cool embrace in time. So a 2-for-0 along with the tier 2 tower. Despite not having the Aegis, Nigma are not scared to fight. Rapid jump, beautiful into the hoodwink, quarter flag, 2 huge kills, double kill for Rasmus, the choppity is there, and now the Edge looks to be next, but it will get popped eventually. Doppelganger actually ends up dodging it a bit here as Ace. Like another bushwhack from Gil, beautifully done from this hoodwink.
Radiant's middle
3 big turnaround kills after a horrible fight for Hellbear.
I don't know what happened in that top fight. Like, I look at that fight and I just see Lina in the middle of everyone without BKB and then 500 health. Like, she popped BKB coming down from her own mules, but how the hell did she get in that position to begin with? Look at the way this Radiant lineup is structured, right? You have a very clear-cut initiation plan with either Hoodwink or Axe, and Lina's just supposed to be long-range artillery. So I don't know how she found herself in the midst of all of that. She doesn't even have a dagger to get in with, so it couldn't have been that. Yeah, they gave a cover kill of Rasmus there, that definitely helps. Oh, very defensive BKB. Scared of getting caught.
That is going to be a close. Still at 6 seconds. And the call comes in with the Laguna Blade, so yet another kill for Hellbear. Man, I cannot say their name. I'm talking fast. Slow down like every time I say Team Nigma. Have to use that, I guess. That strategy that I've picked up over the years. We'll break this tier 2 tower. Hellbears, the Radiant team versus the Dire.
The wave actually didn't reach to break that back door, so yeah, good job from Miracle on the trap control. Relocate bot, they're going to push out down here, by themselves some time.
Radiant's bottom.
Yeah, ILTW. We talked about, I mean, the fact that he's not even top net worth is pretty crazy considering the amount of farm that he's able to get on this hero, but the credit to Hellbears. They have definitely shown up here today with that 4K net worth lead now. Talked about the relocate already, bushwhack. Into the sharpshooter, that's the break. Onto the Tidehunter, no follow-up though. They're just posturing here as the Aegis is now expired. That's something we didn't really talk about, but obviously sharpshooter against Tide, if you're able to connect it the full duration, that is a pretty long break. It is dispellable, but not having Kraken Shell means that you can just burst this hero. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons you pick Tidehunter, is you basically get a guaranteed Ravage no matter what, just because of that spell.
There's a couple of problems for Tide here, right? There's the Axe Call, which is undispellable, and then there's the Break, which he can dispel with Lotus, but then he needs to not be called at the same time. So there's like a very clear-cut plan for Smashers to actually kill the Tide if they want, which is call into Hoodwink ult, and then just pile on him with Lina, and he's gonna die. And that's big, because the only saves... Nigma do have both the Sunray and the Tether Burst heal with Mech, but as we've seen earlier in the game, the damage from Smashers has been enough. So the question is, when do you push yourself over that limit where you don't die in the burst? That's when Nigma's lineup gets a lot better, is when they can reliably heal their cores with Sunray in these fights when they start getting longer. But so far, so good for Smashers. When they do get the jumps, they convert it immediately into big kills. Bottom lane relocate. Nobody's here with Rasmus though. This could have been really good.
Yeah, they're just going to continue to do this. It's not quite an IO Tiny from back in the day, but
Dire's
it's
courier
the best
has been
alternative
killed.
these days, I suppose. Can't really take a full Rax, but I mean, he does have Agnum Scepter and will be getting Butterfly very shortly. So that is when he starts to do damage in fights. I mean, this is kind of like a farming build, right? He's doing damage in fights, but it takes on a whole new level once you get these Butterfly type items.
He still feels susceptible though, even with this. I still think he can die to a full-on combo from the Smasher, so I don't think you're safe as ILTW here. It helps you against the PL, of course, but like imagine you get Axe called with Hoodwink ult and Lina burst. I don't know, man. I don't know if their heal's enough to keep him alive without having, say, Satanic or
Dire's top tower
Scotty
is
for the
under
extra
attack.
health. He gets caught outside of BKB. I think he's killable.
And Miracle
Dire's structures are
has the Butterfly
fortified.
coming online very shortly as well.
Dire's top tower
His BKB
under
is
attack.
still at 8 seconds, so hasn't been popping it nilly-willy like ILTW has. Whereas ILTW has been kind of in the thick of things. As
Dire's
Ace
top tower
on the
has
PL,
fallen.
as the Heart S and Y combo along with the Diffuse that he had earlier. ILTW leading the charge now. Action onto Rasmus. He can get the call down, but he's going to get killed in the meantime and get stunned, so go for the silver flat as well. Bora's not really scared of anything. He's in the back behind Miracle, just absolute rampage. Rasmus is going to be enough to take him out. Full embrace not there in time. Now the chase is onto Tofu. He's going to get off his ult for the time being, but the chase is on. Looks like Mind Control might be able to find no. In the street, Tofu to get out, but ILTW is in a lot of trouble right now. Getting surrounded by his teammates, so the egg for separation as well. It looks like Gil might fall on the backside. Ace needs to create a little bit of space thanks to this egg. ILTW finally gets that last right click, so a 2 for nothing after all of that. Still a lot of damage on the ILTW, but no kills for Hellbear's Smashers.
Really good play from Miracle. That play, and I don't think it's an obvious play that he can go and kill the Axe there, but he does pull it off just barely, and with Axe out of the picture, it's just easy.
Dire's
You gotta
is
think
under
on
attack.
Smashers as well. Like Tofu, he has to be there for that cold embrace. He has Blink Dagger on the Wyvern. It needs to save Axe from the TA in time, and who knows if they could have turned that around. But a big play from Nigma. They get 2 kills, one of them on the Axe, which is still a decent chunk of net worth that you managed to claw into, and Roshan has just spawned and they have a trap there. That's the bigger prize. It's Roche number 2 that Nigma tailored this fight to take close to the respawn of this, and they get rewarded in a big way. Aegis probably on
Roshan has fallen to the
ILTW.
Dire.
Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah,
Is
so
it
we
Chiefs
looked
of
at a
Miracle?
stat privately, right,
Which
between
IO,
you
of
and
course,
me
yeah.
on the win rate of second Roche, just not in pro games, but all around game. It's like 80+%, which I guess shouldn't be that big of a surprise, because second Roche, and just in general, probably has a high win rate in history. But this one in particular just actually has some stuff.
A wyvern's breath.
Giving the shard to TA. We'll give the silence on Psionic Trap. So
Waiting for that axe.
it's a really big problem for Wyvern, actually. So if Wyvern is ever caught on a trap, he's just get silenced, or you kill someone else while Wyvern is silenced. It just gives this added layer of utility to Miracle to be really confident in finding key picks.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Speaking of confidence, he's straight down to mid tier 2, pushing this really quickly with those very interesting shots, looking like something out of Star Trek.
Dire's bottom tower.
Star Trek? I was thinking more Wizard
Actually,
of
World of
Oz.
Warcraft.
It's more of a rainbow effect,
Dire's
if I do say so
bottom tower has
myself.
fallen.
Scotty not picked up by Ace, who's in the enemy jungle right now, but like you can see, Nigma are just taking all the outer towers, taking everything but the tier 2 bot, and just gonna go into the tier 3. Okay, sharpshooter with the Laguna Blade.
Nice.
All right, so Nigma were not aware of that combo apparently. I was at the top of BKB, and it's just a retreat, but there's a Wyvern Curse supplied to him. A little bit of damage done from TBA as well. BoraNija gets up the LSA as well. Oh, they'll relocate onto the other side of the cliff. I thought he went back to base, but there's actually a little baby one yet again, so we're going to look to reinitiate potentially here. It's going to be 40 into BKB and the Aegis. I feel like Hellbears are going to be very happy with this exchange.
Call down for what? Sorry, it's a reference to a song that you don't like. Because it's a good song, so.
I actually laughed because I knew I wouldn't understand it, but I knew what it was generally from. You and I are just on the same page, even
Do
when
you
it
not like
doesn't make
Lil
any
Jon, Suns fan?
I don't know. Who
Say
that is.
yeah, then you're saving yourself right now.
Wait, does he have blonde hair? Color blonde?
Let's move on with the game.
Okay.
That was
There's-
about as wrong as it.
There's a reason. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it, but I did. Maybe it was Lil Wayne I saw recently. I guess the Lil was all mixed up. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't really keep track of the
Yeah, there's a lot
music
of them.
kids.
That's actually easy to mix up.
That's true.
Who started that trend
MKBs.
anyway? I don't know. Why are you called Lil something?
Double damage.
That's a great question for a Dota 2 cast. We've got Lina,
It really is.
little Lina, as the MKB to be able to get through the butterflies from both ILTW and Miracles. That's a very good pickup. Is that something you
Dire's
ever
middle
go for
tower has
on
fallen.
PL? I know it's not an item you want to, but are you forced to at some point, or are you just gonna like you're just gonna
get
rely on the
MKB?
illusions? Yeah.
Against double butter. I don't know, so I would say, so PL is my worst win rate hero with over 25 games. I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Great, you're the analyst, so I'd be
Right,
the only
so the
person.
the thing is, honestly, when I see PLs play, like you said, they don't want to buy it. I can't tell you what the breaking point is for when you have to. That's the thing, right? Like, I think in this game there's a lot of value because you're playing against double butterfly. But even he is queuing it now. So I think if it was one butterfly, he wouldn't do it.
You talked long enough for him to choose his next item and farm halfway to it. You are a god. Incredible.
He just, no, he just farms really fast. He didn't talk that.
Yeah,
So-
that's definitely the case.
So let's say only one of the items was butter, right? Like the TA or the gyro, but not both. I think
Dire's bottom
it's
tower
probably
is
not a
under
good
attack.
enough value proposition against getting another item. But in this game, he might feel like it's necessary. But it really does say something
Dire's
that
structures
gets
are fortified.
right. These two
Dire's
butters
bottom
been
tower
in quite
is
a
under
while.
attack.
Of course, the fort at the bottom lane, so looks like this is a very even game right now, and I'm not just saying that because it's only a 1K net worth lead for Hellbears, but I mean, we talked about late game, we do favor Nigma, but have to say the Gyrocopter, he is super farm, but he has been getting deleted repeatedly. Does have Satanic now. He has extra tankiness layout.
That's a big item.
Obviously synergizing with his ag, since even when he's stunned, he will be attacking, getting some lifesteal
A
off.
wyvern's breath.
More fuel for my fire.
Wonder when we're gonna see some more discs come out as well. We have one on Gilger so far, but it feels like a very, very strong item in this game against the Hoodwink combo. Or
A
Nigma.
wyvern's
They're just chunks. I gotta say, man, this actually really feels scary. The call to set up your sharpshooter, the fact that you break the people that you call, which just makes Axe's team able to pile on way easier against a lot of heroes. The lane itself is pretty strong. There's a lot of damage in it. I like it.
Wyvern's breath.
One thing we didn't mention,
Dire's bottom
but
tower
Ace, he
is
got
under
this a
attack.
while ago with the shard, which is the Spirit Lance bounces.
Yep.
And we talked about this at the major, where some people were not going at all the way into the LSA mind control. He deleted as well. He does have buyback though, 85 seconds. Want to
Dire's
use it?
bottom tower has fallen.
Almost certainly will have to though. And you can see Lina just pounding onto the Ranger Rack. So Hellbear Smashers are the first to get a Rax of any kind. And it's going to be a full sweep in the bot lane. Miracle jumps in, but I don't think he actually wants to do anything further here. As the flicker, that's going to be pretty annoying to deal with. Better Rax for Hellbears. Still with buyback here, so... And of course, no fort. Nullifier now.
Buyback out of here.
Miracle. Okay. Oh, Rasmus jumps into the Yules. The buyback is there. Now the run-in from Nigma. Can they catch up to anybody is the question. Ace has a homing missile buyback and obviously just doppelganger away. I think he synergizes with the Ravage potentially, but no. We'll be able to get it off in time. It looks like the retreat will be successful, and there's even a double damage rune for the Lina.
Who turned up the heat?
If Smashers didn't stack that Google plus call, who knows what would have happened to that Ti10? He does have the 25 talents, so he has a lot of refraction charges. But if PL connects with a lot of illusions, those are removed very quickly. And they could find themselves another big kill. But at the very least, they got the Tide buyback regardless, and they disengaged. Again, it's just this... It's this thing about Nigma's lineup that when Tide isn't there, there's so much freedom. For Smashers to do whatever they want. They just get out of there, right? Like, nothing's gonna stop them. Gonna start poking here with the PL. And that... Miracle area now. They're just gonna hold the high ground. There's no threat of a roach for a while. Early respawn is in a minute. And this bottom wave will push in. So I reckon as soon as Enigma hero shows bottom, we might see a smoke from Smashers across to the top. And Nigma are not going to give them that piece of information. They're actually making the move. Going for a big play here.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah,
is under
Bora is
attack.
showing.
Wrap around here. ILTW is going to be spotted. The homing missile's already there. BoraNija has to be careful because this Jules can now be dispelled thanks to the nullifier. The Aeon Disc as well, or look at that had it. Somebody. Okay. All done is there. Microphone gets off the Ravage. Gets to connect on a couple of heroes. Into the egg as well. That's the stun ray egg. BoraNija is in a lot of trouble. Gonna get off the Yules for now, but you have to think that will be the sacrifice at the very least. Gets to win the blade off, but only damage in the end. It's now Mind Control jumps in again. Gonna pop that Aeon Disc. Looks like they want to fight. The Lina's gonna buy back from the game. The pressure applied to the TA, but sent back to base thanks to the beautiful relocating from GH, but a choppity chop is enough. And ILTW, as a result of Io not being there anymore, has no save for himself. Hiroki with the dive. Will he? Oh, it's gonna be close. Ace just gets enough
They found
damage.
Miracle. He has dagger.
GH. Yeah,
Timing.
Miracle. The call is there. Into the bushwhack. Down he goes. Wow. One buyback from Bora. And four dead.
Perfectly
for
missed.
Nick.
Dire's top tower is
That
under
was a frame
attack.
perfect unit. Coming out of that Yules. That was super good. I think, so I believe Miracle did have refraction running, so that he can blink out of the Yules land. But the stun was just perfect. Didn't get to turn and blink at all. And this should be the game.
Yeah, they can just go.
Dire's
They
middle
never
towers are under attack.
really got their feet off the ground too much in terms of fighting. They had the farm, effort to hold here.
Just jumps in, and the damage applied against ILTW is just more than enough. GH cannot save his brother this time around, and he's going to be the death as well. So this will be game one for Hellbear Smashers. Very big upset. Again, this is the #1